Wemby doesn't even make sense. Wemby put up 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 0 turnovers in just 32 minutes. That's not just stuffing the stat sheet, that's feeding it a 3-course meal. But the blocks? That's where things get wild. Let's start with the 9 blocks. That's not just impressive, it's statistically bizarre. League average for blocks per game is around 4.5, give or take. That's for an entire team. Wemby nearly doubled that on his own. Just for comparison, the single season record for average blocks per game is 5.56. That's not per game in one night. That's across an entire season. He flirted with that in 32 minutes of game time. 9-block games are already so rare, only elite rim protectors sniff that number once or twice across an entire career. Guys like Dikembe, who leads the all-time list, had 29 games in his career with 9 or more. That's over hundreds and hundreds of games. Wemby just added his 4th 9+ block game before turning 22. That's not a trend. That's an outlier becoming normal. He's now had 4 regular season games with at least 9 blocks. And if that doesn't make your eyebrows raise, maybe this will. Only 48 players in NBA history have even recorded a single 10-block game, ever. And Wemby has 2 of them already. And those weren't fluke games either. One came against Portland in December last season, where he dropped 30 points along with 10 blocks in just 30 minutes. Then again in February, he had another 10 against Toronto in 29 minutes, throwing in 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists for good measure. By the way, if you guys want to watch a more fun style of video, I have another channel. In the video I posted today, I gave a prediction for every NBA star for the season, including Wemby. The link will be in the description and at the end of the video. Thanks. Anyway, back to tonight. 9 blocks, no turnover. That combo alone is gold, because most players who are this involved on both ends of the floor cough the ball up at least once. He didn't. He finished with a field goal percentage of 56 and hit 3 out of 4 free throws, good for 75%. That's efficient across the board. Let's talk context. Since blocks started being recorded officially in the mid-70s, 10-block games have only happened around 160 times, including playoffs. That's across 50 seasons and thousands of players. 9-block games are slightly more common, but not by much. They're still incredibly rare. If you take all the players in the league right now, the odds of any one of them logging 9 blocks in a single game is low. Like, single-digit percentage low. For average players, it's practically 0. Even players known for blocks don't rack up 9 very often. Now Wemby is casually doing it multiple times a year. And it's not like he's doing it by hanging out under the basket while the other guys brick shots. He's blocking stars. He's challenging shots at the rim, chasing plays down, and doing it all in under 35 minutes. Some guys play 40+ minutes and don't even get close. Tonight's 9 blocks happened in just 32. That's about 1 every 3.5 minutes. But here's the kicker. When Wemby gets 9 or more blocks, it's not just a block party. He usually scores at least 20 points, often much more. That means he's not a specialist. He's not just a rim protector. He's doing this while also being a primary scorer. 29 points tonight, and again, on 56% shooting. That's not just doing both, that's dominating both. And these games aren't all happening against the same type of teams either. His high block performances have come against all kinds. Fast-paced squads, slow post teams, shooters, drivers. He's doing this against whoever lines up in front of him. The matchup tonight was against New Orleans, a team that doesn't exactly shy away from contact, and Wemby still found a way to change the game with his length and timing. Looking at the full breakdown, this was his 3rd best block game ever, trailing only the 2 10-block nights from last season. And he did it in just 32 minutes, still managing to grab 11 rebounds and dish 2 assists while also grabbing a steal. No wasted motion. Everything contributed, nothing sloppy. And if you stack this up historically, it gets even more absurd. Since 2010, only a handful of players have logged multiple games with 9 or more blocks. Hassan Whiteside did it. Anthony Davis had a few. Serge Ibaka had his run, but none of them had 2 10-block games and 4 9-block games before turning 22. Wemby's doing this at an age where most big men are still figuring out how not to foul out in 20 minutes. Speaking of fouls, yes, he fouled out tonight, but in overtime. After delivering 9 blocks and playing over half an hour, yeah, he picked up his 6th, but not before making his impact all over the court. His team needed every second of those 32 minutes. Now, if this pace keeps up, Wemby is on track to do something not seen since the days of Hakeem Olajuwon. Average over 3 blocks per game across back-to-back seasons. That's not just good, that's historical. And this is only his second game of his third season. When the blocks climb, so do the points. He's not picking one side of the floor to show up. He's dominating both. And the rebounding? Steady. Tonight's 11 boards are right in line with his other high block game. He's had 13, 14, 15 in those games too. That's not cherry-picked stats. That's production across the board, every time. Also, the assists don't disappear either. He had 2 tonight, but in previous block-heavy games, he's had 3, 4, 5, even 8. It's not playmaking as the main guy, but it's enough to keep defenders guessing and the offense flowing. You add in the efficiency, over 55% shooting tonight and 75 from the line. And it's easy to see why this performance stands out even in his already loaded stat sheet. 0 turnovers in 32 minutes while being this involved? That's rare. Players with this much usage almost always give the ball away once or twice. Not tonight. He was clean, efficient, brutal on defense. And again, this was a 9-block game, and it was only his third best. The top 2 were 10-block games in under 31 minutes. That kind of consistency in high-level shot blocking just doesn't exist in the league right now outside of him. It's already hard to be that guy on offense. It's harder to be that guy on defense. But doing both at once, that's something that statistically almost never happens. You could search the last decade of league data and still barely find a handful of games like that. Wemby is now making them feel routine. So yeah, 9 blocks in 32 minutes with 29 points and 0 turnovers is wild. But it's even wilder that this might not even end up being his best performance of the season. At this rate, the bar just keeps getting higher. But Wemby may have been even better in Game 1. Wemby dropped 40 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 blocks in 30 minutes. That stat line doesn't need dressing up. It's not just good. It's one of those lines that makes the whole league sit up and remember exactly who they're dealing with. No turnovers either, not a single one. He went 15 for 21 from the field and hit 9 out of 11 free throws. That's a performance with almost no wasted movement, no panic, and no help needed. This wasn't just a nice night. This was statistical violence. 40 points in 30 minutes is absurd already. But when it comes with 0 turnovers and 15 boards, now you're entering territory most players never even sniff in their careers. And he did it on opening night. First game back from a health scare that could have easily slowed him down? Yeah, apparently not. The list of players to score 40 and grab 15 in a season opener is short. You can scroll for a long time and maybe find a few. But to do it without a turnover, that list is even shorter. Try 4 players since 1977. And Wemby just joined that club. First try, barely broke a sweat. He wasn't just getting easy looks under the basket either. This wasn't one of those 40-point nights where the defense forgot to show up. He got guarded by Anthony Davis, and not just for a few possessions either, for real stretches, and Wemby gave him the business. Hit him with a step-back jumper and drew the foul, took him off the dribble, finished through contact, buried a 3, and added the free throw. That's not supposed to happen against a player like Davis, and yet it did, over and over. This was Wemby's first regular season game since February. A blood clot shut him down, and he spent the offseason trying to rebuild his body and mindset. Clearly that went well. He looked more in control than ever. No panic, no forcing. He passed out of doubles, made the easy reads, and let the ball come back to him. And when it did, he punished defenders who weren't ready. Let's talk about the blocks. 3 may not sound like much compared to the ridiculous 9 and 10 block nights he's had before, but in this game, they were timely. They came at momentum swinging points, helped spark transition opportunities, and basically snatched any chance Dallas had to claw back. And the fact that he added those 3 blocks to everything else, that's just mean. What's wild is how efficient he was, shooting 71% from the field and 82% from the line, all without a turnover. You do not get 40 points that cleanly in today's NBA without being the focal point. He had the ball, a lot, and still played flawless basketball. That's high usage, high efficiency, high impact stuff, and it's almost impossible to sustain over a full game. Unless you're Wemby. He also pulled down 15 rebounds, and these weren't uncontested freebies. He fought through bodies, boxed out bigger players, and controlled the glass like it was a personal challenge. That's physicality that goes beyond highlight plays. He wanted the boards, and he got them. That's what kept the Spurs in control even during slow stretches. Now throw in 6 assists, not 1 or 2, but 6. And not because he was swinging the ball around aimlessly. These were passes that led to real buckets. He pulled the defense in, drew the second man, and kicked it to the open shooter or cutter. That kind of decision making is what usually takes players years to develop. Somehow, he's already there. The Spurs beat Dallas by 33, and Wemby was a huge reason why. This wasn't one of those nights where the role players stole the show while the star coasted. He came out firing and never let up. Every time Dallas tried to make a push, he hit them with another backbreaker, a drive, a dunk, a fadeaway, a block. Whatever was needed, he delivered it. And look, this was more than just a big scoring night. This was an MVP caliber performance in Game 1. Scouts in the building literally said he looked like the MVP already. That's not hyperbole. That's how dominant he was on both ends, all game long. And remember, this is a guy who's still just 21. He's out here doing things that veterans barely manage once or twice a year. He didn't just dominate the paint. He was handling the ball like a guard, hitting threes, stepping back into jumpers. That perimeter game, it's catching up fast. He's not just leaning on his height and length. He's hitting shots that most guards would be proud of. And he's doing it at 7'4" or 7'5", depending on who's measuring. And the footwork, the pace, the timing. These are the things that separate stars from the rest. He wasn't just bullying smaller players. He was patient. He waited for defenses to make a mistake, then pounced. Whether it was passing out of doubles or cutting at the perfect moment for an easy finish, he played like someone who already understands every corner of the floor. What makes it even more remarkable is how calm he was through all of it. There was no forcing, no panicking. When double teamed, he moved the ball. When left open, he took his shot. That balance is rare, especially in a game where he was clearly the guy. With De'Aaron Fox out, the ball was in Wemby's hands constantly, and he didn't blink. Oh, and those 6 assists, they came from him staying composed. He could have tried to go full hero ball, but he didn't. He read the defense, made the smart plays, and the game kept rewarding him. That's the kind of poise that makes coaches relax. It opens up the offense, builds trust, and turns a good team into a dangerous one. And this wasn't just a flash-in-the-pan performance against a bad team. Dallas has talent. They've got rim protection. They've got players who can switch and defend. Wemby made them look like practice cones. Every time they adjusted, he countered. He beat them down the court for dunks. He beat them off the dribble for and-ones. He beat them from the outside with a deep jumper and a 4-point play. Every part of his game was on display. It wasn't just that he scored 40. It's how he did it. Step backs, cradle dunks, spin moves, hesitation drives. This wasn't a night where the ball just kept bouncing his way. He made it happen again and again, and he did it all in just 30 minutes. That's 10 less than a full game. You give most players 10 extra minutes and they still don't sniff these numbers. And again, 0 turnovers. That's hard to overstate. No matter how good you are, turnovers happen, especially when you're handling the ball as much as he was. Not here, not once. That's an incredibly rare combination of usage and efficiency. He joined Tim Duncan as the only Spurs to ever drop 30 and 10 in a season opener. But Duncan never did it with this kind of range and speed. That's not a knock on Duncan. It's just that Wemby brings a different type of dominance. He's long, fast, and incredibly versatile. He doesn't need the ball for 10 seconds to make something happen. He can catch, move, shoot, and score all in the space of a breath. Even when the game was starting to feel decided, he kept going. He made sure the message was clear. This is his team now. This is his time. The Spurs didn't just win, they made a statement. And Wemby was the one carrying the mic. The chant started with 6 minutes left. MVP. And it wasn't just Spurs fans. It was in a road arena. That tells you everything. The crowd knew what they were watching. It wasn't just a good game. It was a reminder of what happens when a player with size, skill, and feel all come together at the right time. So in 30 minutes, Wemby gave the league one of the most efficient, dominant performances in years. No turnovers, 15 rebounds, 40 points, 3 blocks, 6 assists. And he made it look normal. That's how high the bar is now. First game of the season, and he's already operating at a level most players only dream about. And it really is crazy how good his defense is. Wemby on defense this season is so outrageously dominant that it honestly feels like he's breaking the sport in real time. His defensive rating right now is sitting at 83.3. That's not just better than the league average. It's not just good. That's what are we even doing here territory. That number alone would be enough to cause league-wide existential crises. But the chaos doesn't stop there. He's ranked higher than 99% of the league in team defense impact. That means he's not just defending well on an individual level, he's warping entire team schemes. Teams aren't just struggling to score on him, they're struggling to run functional offense when he's on the court. The data is screaming, and what it's saying is simple. Wemby is unfair. Let's start with the plus-minus insanity. He has a 100% positive plus-minus rate. That means in every single game this season so far, the moment he steps on the floor, the score starts tilting in his team's favor. And we're not talking about soft margins here. His on-off split is plus 29. That means when he's on the floor, his team is outscoring opponents by 29 points per 100 possessions more than when he's off. That's not a ripple. That's a full-on tidal wave of impact. His net rating, plus 47.3. That's not a typo. That means when he's out there, his team is functionally playing like a juggernaut. And that number is coming from a very specific equation. Offensive rating of 130.6. Defensive rating of 83.3. That split is absurd. 130 is elite level offense. 83 is historically suffocating defense. Together, that's an efficiency gap most teams never even dream of reaching. And let's talk about that defensive rating again, because it deserves its own spotlight. 83.3 is the kind of number that doesn't make sense in the modern NBA. Offenses are too fast, too efficient, too three-point obsessed to let anyone hold them that low. But Wemby's out here basically turning the paint into a haunted house. No one wants to go in there. And when they do, they regret it instantly. It's not just the blocks, though yes, he's swatting shots into oblivion with regularity. It's the deterrence. The body language shift you can spot in real time. Players see him in help position and suddenly pull up from awkward mid-range angles they don't even like. They rush layups. They short arm floaters. Entire offenses get weird just because he's standing there. He doesn't even have to jump. His mere presence rewires what the offense thinks is possible, and that's what makes the 99 percentile in mixed team defense so devastating. He's not just a shot blocker, he's a system breaker. The metric combines his individual stops and the team's defensive results with him on the floor, and both categories are practically maxed out. He's neutralizing primary scorers, altering second options, and forcing third and fourth guys to take shots they're not used to. It's not just hard to score with him on the floor, it's inefficient, awkward, and discouraging. Now consider his usage rate, 37.9%. That's offense. That means 38% of his team's possessions end with him either shooting, getting fouled, or assisting. That's a heavy load, and yet his defensive numbers are still this obscene. He's carrying nearly 40% of the team's offensive load and still giving you peak level rim protection, switchability, and rotational coverage. That's not just two-way ability, that's overclocked. And look at how clean the possessions are. 21 field goal attempts per game, 11 free throw attempts, 1 assist, 0 turnovers, 62 possessions played. That's efficiency wrapped in chaos. He's involved in almost everything and yet doesn't give the ball away. It's hard to even compute how he's balancing this kind of activity level with this kind of impact on the other end. Back to defense. Because seriously, how is this happening? He's anchoring a unit that flat out strangles opposing teams. The shot contests are elite. The timing on rotations is perfect. He doesn't chase blocks. He funnels players into the worst possible decisions, then swallows their attempts whole. And when teams try to go away from him, he reads it and slides over anyway. The ground coverage is ridiculous. And don't even think about attacking him in the post. That's not just a bad idea. It's insulting. You try to back him down, and he just stretches out, smothers the shot, and jogs back like nothing happened. You face him up, and he's already sliding laterally like a guard, arms draped over your entire vision like some kind of haunted umbrella. The matchup data's already a horror film, but it's not just isolation. He's dominating. Help. Weak side rotations? Perfect. Nail help? Perfect. Switch coverage? Smooth. He's not just blowing up individual possessions, he's ruining whole game plans. Coaches are adjusting rotations just to reduce the number of minutes their starters have to see him. That's the kind of problem you only see once or twice in a generation. And here's the thing, it's not even full minutes. He's doing this in controlled bursts. These aren't games where he's playing 42 minutes and grinding through defensive possessions by sheer volume. He's putting up these metrics in 30-minute windows. That's per minute destruction. That's condensed chaos. Let's go back to his on-off split, plus 29 per 100 possessions. That doesn't just lead the team, it leads the league. You take any other defender you want, look at how much their team improves when they're on the floor, and they still come in behind Wemby. That's not fair. That's reality bending. His rotations are already at elite veteran levels. He's not biting on fakes. He's not overcommitting. He's not gambling. He's patient, poised, and terrifying. If he switches onto a guard, the guard usually panics. If he drops, the drive dies. If he shows, the passer second guesses everything. If he traps, it's over. The read is clean. The limbs are everywhere, and the shot clock becomes your enemy. It's not just verticality either. He's covering ground horizontally like he's warping space. Closeouts that should be too late, he gets there. Rotations that should take 2 slides, he makes them in 1. Help side contests that normally force weak fouls, he's clean, up straight, and knocking the shot off course. It's like he's rewriting geometry in real time. And this is happening every game. It's not a sample size trick. The numbers are locking in now. Game after game, his defensive metrics are not just staying high, they're climbing. Teams are figuring out they can't attack him straight up, but the alternative is worse. Avoid him, and you're working through the teeth of a defense he's orchestrating. The rim protection is elite. The contest numbers are absurd. The foul rate is low. The rebounding is strong. And the recovery speed after bites or shifts, fast enough to erase his own mistakes. Not that he makes many. Most players have to choose. Do I go for the block and risk the foul? Or do I play it safe? Wemby just makes the block and doesn't touch you. It's not a decision for him. It's muscle memory. And let's not forget transition defense. When the Spurs miss and opponents push, it's tempting to think you've got an easy layup. Then Wemby shows up out of nowhere and launches your attempt into the stands. Or worse, changes your mind mid-air, and you flip a wild reverse that barely touches the rim. That's what he does. Takes fast breaks and turns them into therapy sessions. Pick and rolls? Not safe. Isolation? Not safe. Post-ups? Nope. Floaters? Good luck. Layups? Try again. Mid-range pull-ups? You better get it off early. Three-point closeouts? Somehow still effective. Every option gets worse with him on the floor. The defensive shot chart turns cold, then colder, then hopeless. Even when he's not blocking the shot, he's changing it. The numbers show opponents shoot worse at the rim when he's on the floor, and it's not just marginal. It's steep. They go from confident slashes to confused afterthoughts. And when they start missing, the whole offense unravels. Possessions get longer, shots get tougher, and suddenly everyone's pressing. And yet somehow, he's still getting better. That's the scary part. This isn't a maxed out version of Wemby. This is year 3, early season. Just getting into rhythm Wemby. The reads are sharpening, the timing is tightening, the endurance is improving, and the defensive rating is already near all-time levels. There are defenders who specialize in perimeter stops. There are rim protectors who dominate in the paint. There are wings who do a little bit of everything. Wemby is all of them, simultaneously. He's erasing shots at the rim, switching onto ball handlers, stifling pick and rolls and blowing up help coverages, all while functioning as an offensive centerpiece. So far this season, his presence on the floor is like flipping a switch. The other team gets quieter, the drives get slower, the ball movement gets clunkier, everything breaks. And it breaks because of one person, one 7'4" player who covers the entire court like it's his backyard. The numbers back it up, the film backs it up, the eye test backs it up. He's not just a problem on defense, he's the problem, the one no one has solved yet. And based on everything we've seen so far this season, there's no reason to believe anyone will. Overall though, Wemby doesn't even make sense. That's not just a casual observation anymore. It's the only logical conclusion after watching him completely bend basketball into something new. We've all seen players dominate before. We've seen scorers go wild. Defenders lock in, passers thread needles, rebounders hit double digits every night. But we haven't seen this. Not like this. Not all at once and not with this level of control. He plays basketball like someone was handed a custom player editor and decided to max out everything, then snuck the build past quality control. Every time he steps on the court, he does something that forces you to pause and ask, wait, what? Whether it's the way he floats through traffic with the ball or casually ruins another offensive possession with a fingertip block that no one else in the league could reach, Wemby has turned the absurd into the expected. What's happening is bigger than just box scores or records. It's not about one good night or even one great stretch. This is transformation. It's not just the numbers. It's the tone of the game when he's playing. The rhythm changes. The other team feels hesitant, like they're waiting for something to go wrong. Spoiler, it always does. On offense, he's already carrying more responsibility than most players ever touch. He's doing it while scoring at will, passing without overthinking, staying calm when defenses collapse around him, and somehow managing to take smart shots every time down the court. You expect someone his size to live in the post, maybe hit the occasional mid-range jumper. Instead, he's hitting step backs, running the floor like a wing, and launching from deep without hesitation. It's ridiculous. And what separates him from every other young star is that he doesn't just bring flash, he brings structure. He doesn't chuck, he doesn't stall. His presence creates space, movement, and rhythm. Teammates are finding better looks because he exists. Defenders are second-guessing rotations because he's nearby. It's not just about what he's doing. It's what everyone else is being forced to adjust to. But for all the jaw-dropping offense, it's his defense that makes him unfair. You know how in video games, there's that one overpowered character nobody wants to play against? That's him. The moment he's on the floor, the entire opposing scheme becomes a risk. Layups become adventures. Floaters become prayers. Driving lanes vanish, and shooters who get even a sliver of space are still looking over their shoulder. He doesn't just block shots, he ends possessions. The intimidation starts before the first dribble, and he's doing all of it with perfect timing, clean contests, and court coverage that turns 5-man rotations into a guessing game. You don't just need a plan to beat Wemby, you need a backup plan, and a backup to that backup. And none of them usually work. It's not just about length. There have been tall players before. What makes him such a problem is that he knows how to use every inch without wasting any of it. He doesn't overextend. He doesn't fall for pump fakes. His rotations are precise. His footwork is clean, and his reactions are nearly instant. The game slows down for him, and he speeds it up for everyone else. That combination is lethal. The scary part, this isn't a veteran in year 12 who's finally hitting their peak. This is year 3, and he's just getting warmed up. The timing is sharpening. The rhythm is sinking. The reads are getting faster. And the opponents, they're running out of answers. He's not a defensive specialist. He's not an offensive juggernaut. He's both. He can dominate a game without needing the ball, then take over on the next possession with a coast-to-coast finish. He can switch onto guards and survive, then step back and anchor the paint. He can score in isolation, within the flow, or in transition. And he does it all without forcing. That's the key. There's no desperation in his game, just control. It's rare to find someone who changes the scoreboard and the scouting report at the same time. Coaches are trying to figure out how to attack him, and the best answer they've come up with so far is avoid him. That's not exactly a winning strategy, because when you avoid him on one end, he still shows up to punish you on the other. It's a lose-lose situation, and the league knows it. And the league is already reacting. You can see it in the way defenses shift when he gets the ball. The extra help, the overhelp, the panic. You can see it in the way offenses stall when he's at the rim, or how they run weirdly passive sets just to try and draw him out. It's not working. He's adapting faster than they are. He's also turning the normal rules of basketball upside down. Usually players need help to get into rhythm. They need a steady point guard, a clean pick, a mismatch. Wemby creates his own rhythm. He doesn't wait for the game to come to him. He goes and grabs it, shapes it, and then plays it how he wants. And he's doing all of this without being the loudest guy on the court. No theatrics, no over-the-top celebrations, just execution. You watch him, and there's a weird calm about it all. Like none of this is surprising to him. As if he already knew he was going to take the game and twist it in his favor. That confidence, that quiet destruction. It's unnerving. Other players look like they're playing a sport. Wemby looks like he's experimenting, testing, seeing what else is possible. The step backs, the fakes, the transition pull-ups, they don't look rehearsed. They look like ideas he's trying out in real time. And the terrifying part? They're working. Everything about him feels like the future arriving early, and not just a little early. Like someone hit fast forward and skipped a decade. The league will catch up eventually, maybe, but right now, it's not ready. The game is still built around players who can do a few things really well, but Wemby does everything, and he does it at a level that makes the usual limits feel obsolete. Even the most skilled stars in the league operate within a certain bandwidth. They know where their strengths are, and they play to them. Wemby doesn't seem to have those boundaries yet. He can play outside, inside, up high, down low, in motion, in isolation, or out of the post. He's redefining what it means to be a big man, and at the same time, what it means to be a guard. He's not a position. He's a cheat code, a walking mismatch that can't be schemed out of a game. And every time he takes the floor, he's doing something that redefines what we thought was possible for a player. His size, his age, or his role. And here's the wildest part. We're barely scratching the surface. This isn't peak form. This isn't a finished product. This is just the beginning. The decisions are getting quicker. The movements are getting sharper. The understanding is deepening. He's learning the league in real time and still dominating it while doing so. Players like this aren't supposed to come around. When they do, it usually takes time. It takes years of development, perfect timing, the right situation. Wemby walked in with expectations sky high, and he's blowing past them anyway. He's not just living up to the hype. He's making it look like the hype was underselling him. He's a freak, sure, but not in the way people usually mean. He's not a sideshow attraction. He's not just a tall guy doing tall things. He's intelligent, methodical, skilled. Every play has purpose. Every movement has a reason. And every game is another reminder that the league has no real answer for him. He's showing up and turning elite defenders into spectators. Turning transition breaks into blocked shot montage. Turning help coverage into highlight reels. And through it all, he never looks rushed, never looks overwhelmed, just locked in, like he already knows the ending. So yeah, Wemby doesn't even make sense. And maybe that's the point. Maybe he's not here to fit into basketball's current logic. Maybe he's here to rewrite it. One chase down, one step back, one absurdly quiet 30-point night at a time.